This story isn't just about a marriage ending, it's about illusion, branding, and what happens when a relationship becomes content before it stays real. Kristy Scott didn't just lose a husband, she lost the future she had been publicly building since she was a teenager. After more than a decade of marriage, she filed for divorce from Desmond Scott after discovering his infidelity. And according to court filings, this wasn't something minor, misunderstood, or salvageable. It was serious enough that Kristy made it clear there was no path back. What makes this situation explode the way it has is how deeply people were emotionally invested in them. Kristy and Desmond weren't just married, they were internet married. Their relationship was a product consumed daily by millions. Their playful pranks, inside jokes, and best friends who married each other dynamic convinced people they were watching something rare and genuine. And honestly, for a long time it probably was. They met as kids, literal kids. Kristy was around 14 when they got together. Desmond was just a bit older. They didn't date casually. They grew up together. School, early adulthood, financial struggle, career building, all of it happened side by side. When Kristy turned 18, they got married almost immediately. No long break, no separate adult lives. Straight into marriage. That matters more than people realize. When you build your entire identity around one person before you've even figured out who you are, the relationship becomes your foundation. Kristy didn't just marry Desmond. She built her adulthood, her career, her motherhood, and her public image with him. And the audience loved that narrative. They weren't rich at first. They weren't influencers yet. They ran a wedding business together. Real work, real stress. Kristy handled logistics, Desmond shot weddings. Slowly, over years, that business evolved into online fame, millions of followers, brand deals, TikTok virality, Instagram success, and eventually, serious money. People respected them because nothing was handed to them. They built everything together. That's why Desmond was constantly labeled a green flag. The internet saw him as the loyal husband who adored his wife, laughed at her pranks, hyped her up, and never embarrassed her. Men were compared to him. Women wished for someone like him. He benefited massively from that image. Then 2026 hit, and the cracks couldn't be edited anymore. Fans noticed the absence before the truth came out. Kristy posting alone. No Desmond, no jokes, no couple content. And eventually, legal documents confirmed what many suspected. Kristy filed for divorce, citing cheating. Let's be clear, this wasn't mutual drifting apart. This wasn't we grew differently. This wasn't we fell out of love. Kristy explicitly stated that Desmond's actions destroyed any chance of reconciliation. That's not language someone uses lightly, especially someone who built her entire life around that marriage. And here's the part people keep glossing over. This happened after they bought a dream home. After they publicly celebrated how far they'd come. After years of showing stability, loyalty, and partnership. That betrayal doesn't just hurt emotionally, it rewrites your entire past. It makes you question whether the person you grew up with was ever fully honest. Rumors then began spreading that the affair involved someone connected to their company. While those specific details remain unconfirmed, the cheating itself is not a rumor. It's documented. And when betrayal happens inside shared businesses and shared spaces, it cuts even deeper because there's no separation between personal and professional life. Desmond later released a public statement, and while it was polished and carefully worded, it confirmed the core truth. He admitted he made choices he wasn't proud of. He admitted he hurt Kristy. He admitted responsibility. What he didn't say speaks just as loudly. There was no denial, no confusion, no misunderstanding, just accountability wrapped in PR language. And that's why the backlash was so intense. People weren't just angry he cheated. People felt lied to. Because Desmond wasn't just living a private life, he was selling an image of loyalty and devotion every single day. When you profit from being seen as the perfect husband, you don't get to act shocked when people hold you to that standard. One comment summed it up perfectly. When your relationship is always being filmed, authenticity becomes optional, performance becomes mandatory. Influencer relationships are especially dangerous because there's pressure to keep the narrative alive. You don't get to have ugly seasons. You don't get to pause. You don't get to be honest when honesty doesn't perform well. So instead, Couples smile through resentment, joke through distance, and pretend everything is fine because the algorithm demands it. Over time, that creates emotional rot. And we've seen this pattern over and over again. Couples who look obsessed on camera while privately falling apart, public devotion masking private dissatisfaction, perfect marriages that collapse the moment the cameras turn off. That doesn't excuse cheating, not even close, but it explains how someone can live a double reality for so long. The harsh truth is this: Desmond didn't just cheat on his wife. He burned down a life that was built over 16 years, a family, a business, a reputation, for something temporary. And Kristy is the one left to rebuild while carrying the emotional weight of betrayal and public scrutiny. This is why people say, never idolize influencer relationships. You're watching content, not truth. And the saddest part? Kristy didn't just lose a partner. She lost the version of the future she had been promised since she was a teenager. As more details emerge, the image may shift even further. But one thing is already clear: the fairy tale people thought they were watching was never the full story. And now, Kristy is choosing reality over performance. Let me know what you think about this situation in the comments.